how does Indonesia improving their human capital infrastructure and also the institution to enhancing their competitiveness and innovation? Yeah, how? Okay, welcome to our video. Okay, then today we will exploring how Indonesia can enhancing their competitiveness and also their innovation by what? By focusing on three key factors. There are human capital, infrastructure, and also the institution. Okay, in this video, we will exploring how economic model will be utilized to estimate the causal effect of the human capital, infrastructure, and also institution on the competitiveness and innovation. Yeah, this model will employing the statistical method to test the hypothesis and quantifying relationship between the variables. Okay, so through the regression analysis, we will measuring the impact of change in education, health, transportation, governance, rule of law, and other factors of indicator of competitiveness and innovation. Maybe we can also exploring such as GDP, growth, productivity, export, maybe and also patents. Okay. By examining the dataset here that representing various countries and years, hopefully we will get the insight into the relationship between the GDP growth and factors like human capital, infrastructures, and also the institution. Our aim here is to providing the valuable insights on how Indonesia can improving their human capital, infrastructure, and also institution to boost their competitiveness and also fostering a thriving culture of innovation. Okay, so how to do it? Let's just jump into the code. Okay, here it is, guys. Our code. Okay, first thing first, our code is begin with importing the necessary libraries. There are pandas, numpy, warning, and also the statsmodel.api. These libraries will providing powerful tools for us to do data manipulation, numerical operation, handling warnings, and also performing the statistical modeling. Okay, here we are using the dataset of the several country, and we are creating this into the data frame. This is the function from the pandas library. The datasets represent various countries and years, and including variables such as the GDP growth, the human capital, the infrastructure, and also the institution. The dataset here is structured as a table with rows representing different observations and the columns will representing different variables. Okay, and then we are here building the regression model. The linear regression model that is fit with the function, as you can see here, is the sm.ols function. This is the coming from the stats model library. This function performing the ordinary least squares regression, which is it will estimating the relationship between the dependent variables such as GDP growth and the independent variables such as the human capital, infrastructure, and institution that we will explore. Okay, the model is fit using the dummy dataset that we have mentioned and designed before. The next thing is we want to get the model summary. The model summary, we will print that as a text method. This will providing a comprehensive summary of the regression model. It will be including information about the model's goodness of fit, the coefficient estimate, the standard errors, the p-values, and the other diagnostic statistic. Yeah, the summary will be stored as string here. Okay, so how about the output? Ta-da! Okay, I will zoom out this so you can see of overall numbers of this output. Okay. Okay, can you see it all? Okay, I hope so. Okay, in here, the output will displays those dummy datasets and showing us the values of different variable for each country and year. This is allowing us to examine the data using the regression analysis. We can observing the values of GDP growth, the human capital, infrastructure, and institution for each country year combination here. Okay, it's easy using Python, right? I don't know if I am using C. Maybe it take maybe several hours to calculate this, but using Python, it's only takes less than an hour. The next thing is the model summary. The model summary here is providing various statistical metrics and also the information about the regression model. As you can see, so we can learn together here is we can see the R squared here, okay? This R squared is a metric that measuring the proportion of the variance in the dependent variable, which is GDP growth, that is explaining by independent variable, which is the human capital, infrastructure, and also the institution. In this case, the R squared is at the value of 0.05. This is indicating that the independent variable collectively explains the 5% of the variation in the GDP growth. And then we are also get the numbers of the F statistic. The F statistic test is the overall significance of the regression model. A larger F statistic and a smaller one associated with a p-value that indicating a more significant relationship between independent variables and dependent variable. In this case, the F statistic is 1.009 with a p-value of 0.328. This is suggesting that the overall model is not statistically significant here, okay? So yeah, intuitively that's right, okay? There are so many factors that considering GDP, not only there's three factors. The next thing is the coefficient. The coefficient estimating we representing the expected change in the dependent variable, which is GDP growth, for one unit change in each independent variable. It will holding the other variables constant. We take the assumption like that. In this case, the coefficient for human capital, infrastructure, and institution are also provided, along, of course, with their standard errors. Okay, this coefficient indicate the direction and the magnitude of the relationship. For example, a coefficient of 21.5 for human capital, that is suggesting the one unit increase in human capital is associated as expected increase in GDP growth by 21.5 units. And then we have also the p values. The p values here is associated with each coefficient test that null hypothesis, so that the coefficient is zero. It has in here, in this case, is no effect. A smaller p-value will indicate the stronger evidence against the null hypothesis. In this case, the p-values for human capital and institution are less than 0.05. This is suggesting that they have a statistically significant effect on GDP growth. On the other hand, the p-value for the infrastructure is 0.328. It is indicating that it is not statistically significant, guys. Okay, so in summary, the code provide that performing linear regression on this data set, it is representing the countries and also so many years. Okay, we can calculating the numbers. It is estimating the relationship between GDP growth and the independent variables of human capital, infrastructure, and also the institution. Yeah, here the output providing the statistical information and the diagnostic about the regression model, including the R square, the F statistic, coefficient estimates, standard errors, and also the p-values. With results allowing us to understand the relationship between the variables, their significance is also explaining GDP growth and the overall fit the model up to the data. And so, what can we conclude from our exploration today? So, yeah, we can take this insight to modeling in Indonesia. How can we modeling the GDP growth with several factors of independent variables? So we can grow Indonesia's economy more like the engineering style, and will be by design, not by the coincidence or serendipity. Okay, I believe Indonesia's journey toward the enhancing competitiveness and innovation is able to be growth. Okay, the econometric models here, it is instrumental in estimating the causal effect of these factors on competitiveness and innovation. Also, it will allowing us a statistical analysis and also the hypothesis testing. After all, we are using the regression analysis, right? The regression analysis has provided valuable insights into how change in education, health, transportation, governance, rule of law, and other factors impacting the indicators of economic growth and innovation, such as GDP growth, productivity, export, and also patents. Okay, the dummy datasets here also representing the various country and years, and we has a showcase the potential for Indonesia to improve its human capital, also infrastructure and also innovation. So after all, hopefully we can also fostering a sustainable growth and development. And For the investor, by strategically investing and enhancing in human capital, developing robust infrastructure, and also strengthening the institution, Indonesia can positioning themselves as a thriving hub for innovation and elevate its global competitiveness. We hope this exploration today has provided you some valuable insight into the path of Indonesia that can take enhance its competitiveness and fostering a culture of innovation. Okay, thank you for joining us on this insightful exploration. We are eagerly anticipate your comment below if you have some feedback for us. So maybe that's all from me. See you on the next video, guys.